Well, acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, paying it forward. We're going to talk about that today. Father David Ross is in with us, and this kind of came out of a Wall Street Journal article that you were reading with lessons in kindness.
Elizabeth Bernstein often writes for the Journal, and she came up with a wonderful idea of going back to about 300 people who had over the years, she didn't go back to all of them, but a significant number of people who over the years had written to the Wall Street Journal indicating how they had benefited from somebody else's act of kindness, and it somehow motivated them to act in the same fashion. So I was thinking to myself, what acts of kindness have I experienced or been able to offer to other people as I'm coming to the end of the year, sort of an examination of my consciousness in this regard. You know, and I'm thinking of this just of very small things. For example, when I'm going to the Y and I'm walking across Elizabeth Street from the parking lot into the Y, how often people will stop on Elizabeth Street to enable me to go over. Or when I get into the Y, how many people will hold the door open for me? Or, you know, little things like that. Or the other acts of kindness, you know, you'll see when you go to a, let's say if you go out to Myers, for example, don't they have somebody at the front door greeting you?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make you feel
Say hello.
good? Makes you feel good. Or when I was in line the other day at one of the markets, some lady looked at me and she said, oh, you've only got 2 items. And I've got 5,000. No, you've only got 2, and I've just got a few more than that. Please go ahead of me, you know.
I've done that before.
What this article brings out is the fact that there's a space in our brain, there's a place in our brain that lights up when we do something like this. It's the same thing that lights up, the same spot that lights up when we eat chocolate. So I got a lot of chocolate for Christmas, as you can tell.
I was going to say, I eat a lot of chocolate, so that part of my brain must be
really
lighting up a lot.
You must be really happy. But I mean, I've been asking people, you know, what acts of kindness have you done? Because I think it's oftentimes, it lifts our spirits and it makes us feel good too. And I think it's part of our nature to want to do something like this.
Right.
Now, she mentioned that, I think in this article, that it was during the pandemic that people did that a lot more. And I suppose in those times of trials, that would be the case. But I often find too that, you know, just the opposite happens too when we're under a lot of stress, that people oftentimes find themselves turning inward more and not acting with kindness. So you may go down the highway, and, you know, it happens to me, people will cut right in front of you or something like that. And there's no act of kindness there, I'll tell you that. But, no, I'm serious. But I'm trying to think of the other occasions when we could possibly look forward to doing something kindly for people. You mentioned about going through the drive-thru.
Right. I always think that is the coolest thing. When you go through the drive-thru, you go up there to pay, and someone did it for you. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll pay for the guy behind me. And I like to think it's a domino effect, and more people are doing that.
But I bet you also, as we just discussed, you also say, why didn't I buy more?
Exactly. I only got 1 hamburger. I should have got 2, you know, or I should have got the fries. But I like some of the examples you gave, though, because just maybe saying a thank you, holding the door open for someone, because you always think, I have to do something big, I think. Sometimes people think, well, what can I do? I can't do anything big. Like examples, this lady was baking bread, and she enjoyed it so much, she just baked extra loaves and then started handing them out. I mean, who doesn't love bread? Everybody loves bread. So just little things that you can do.
Or those people in that segment you just had before this one, those people who are not drinking the beer today, my golly, I'll stand it. If they got any left over, I'll be happy to take it off their hands or something like that.
Sharing something. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, I think we can do more, and maybe with the new year, think about it, right? Maybe do more acts of kindness.
Yeah,
people
but
I hope,
you know, this also happens. When I go to the Y, between January 1st and January 10th, they're jam-packed with people who've made those resolutions. By the 11th, it's all changed. So we may make all these resolutions to be kinder or something like that. So it's got to be something that's got to be part of our consciousness. And I think part of it is saying, how have people been kind to me? And it's in the simplest ways, I think, how have people been kind to me? And I think that is in some fashion a motivation to want to act accordingly. As I say, I think it's part of our nature to want to do something like that.
That's what I say. Don't you think deep down most of us are kind? I mean, you have that one person you're like, oh, wow. Don't mess with them. But I think really that there's kindness in them, too.
I'd like to think so, yeah. And I've experienced a lot, you know.
I'm sure you have. You've seen all kinds.
You know, I like to tell this. You know, kids come up to me after church or something like that, and they're standing there and say, "Hi, God," you know, something like that. And then you know, what they're looking for is a hug from me, some kind hug or something like that. So, you know, we can do all those things.
Right. That's a good one. Just giving out hugs and stuff now.
Calling me God?
No, I'm not calling you God. No. Yeah, I'm not going there. Okay, thank you, Father. Let's think about more lessons in kindness. Thanks, Father.
Thanks, Ollie.
All right, don't go away. We'll take a look at the weather forecast next.